What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Round 11 podcast. As always, Cruz and Spaz here, joined alongside Zarin and Zach, and we are back to talk the latest and greatest things about Call of Duty esports. How are you guys doing today?
I didn't have a lot of energy before this, but now I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. It's got lots of shit to talk about.
I will say today we definitely need to stop doing this damn podcast at 2 a.m. Zach, how are you doing today?
I am good, sir. More alive than usual.
That's great. Yeah, you're on overnight shifts now, so you're fucking hype. You're ready to go.
Let's go.
Today we have a lot of good things to talk about in the podcast, so make sure you guys have a drink and you guys are ready to go. This is, I don't know if it's going to be a longer one, but it's definitely going to be a good one, and you guys want to stay tuned for this whole show. Zarin, let's kick it off. Let's talk a little bit about COD Champs, which was announced this week.
Yes, COD Champs announced $4.2 million prize pool. That is nearly double what we've seen the most. I believe the most still to this day was the Black Ops 3 one.
It's crazy. They have a $300 million league, and their $4 million is getting put into the prize pool. Wild.
Let me just break this down a little bit. $4.2 million, more than double than what we've ever seen in COD esports. So that's $2 million going to the winner, which is $800,000 per player. So again, double what they usually make, because usually the payout, I believe, is $800,000. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's
That's usually
always been. Yeah. So $800,000 per player. That's life-changing money, plus the salaries that they're getting. So it's gonna be a nice payday for the winner of champs, and as well as even second place. I wish I could get the graphic, but I believe it was just under $1 million for second place as well. So
now, obviously, we don't know for sure if they're all going to be making all that money. I'm sure the org is going to be making back quite a bit of that money as well, considering they're investing all this into it. But for sure, the players should be making some of that prize money.
Yeah, they'll be making almost all of it. I would honestly be surprised if the orgs actually took some of that money, because we know about the issues with some teams before.
Right.
But the big thing is that, Jesse, you pointed out, and my first thought was, this is a $25 million buy-in for this league.
Minimum.
Only $4 million in the champs. I mean, now
it's better.
Let's look at the bright side before we start talking shit about this, because $4.2 million, like I said, over twice as much than we've ever seen. So this is a huge step in the right direction for COD esports. I said it on Twitter, and I'm going to stand by it. Even R6 and other esports, I don't want to call them out, but like, this is a huge stepping stone for Call of Duty, which has been considered like a bottom tier esport even still now. So good for them for upping the prize pool. Players are going to go home with a nice payday, and I'm excited for it. It's going to be online, but nonetheless, it's still COD Champs.
It's things you love to see. The prize pool being upped at COD Champs. Zach, your thoughts on it?
No, I think it's, again, like you said, $4 million to a $25 million buy-in. Obviously, you assume it'd be higher, but still, the fact that it is higher than it has been in the past, I think, is still pretty good. And to touch on your point there and saying like how this is a big step for esports and COD esports, I think this is like, for an image-wise, I think this gives esports a bigger window to show people what they're about and show people why you should actually watch and why you should actually tune in.
Right, and just one thing that I want to say as well is, like, I don't think, like, obviously we were kind of ripping on them for the $25 million thing. I also feel like that's supposed to be spread out over like the next 5-10 years probably. Let's be honest, right? Like that money. So like it's also understandable in a way. So in other news, like, we didn't see this one coming. Prestinni to Chicago. I called it. I was the first one to call it on the podcast. I called it before even any of those sites said anything. I said in 3 episodes I thought he was going to go to Chicago. Thoughts on the moves?
Yeah.
I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit before, but can I just get your thoughts on the move, guys? Zach?
Yeah, no. When you brought it up, it got me thinking, and I 100% agreed with you when you said it. The brothers are reunited. That's kind of the big story here. Like that chemistry that they built now on the Huntsman team with already other players that have great not necessarily potential, but great skill and great slaying power. That team just got instantly better, And yeah, it might be like a Chino type thing where the first match is a little bit rusty because obviously Prestinni hasn't played for a little bit. But at the same time, I think they're going to come out gunning and they're going to just keep slaying and they're going to be more powerful. And I think the top 3 just got even tighter.
Zaire?
I was very hard on Prestinni going into this year, but he's proven that he's close to one of the best actually in the league. And of course, him stepping away for a couple months, it really hurt Florida. I mean, yeah, they did win an event, the first freaking
Full event with practice without him.
Yeah, without him. So I mean, credit to Florida, and we'll get to them in a minute because I got a lot of shit to say about them. But Prestinni has definitely proven himself this year. I think the addition for Chicago is going to be really, really beneficial for them. I think Chicago's a better team with him. We all know the chemistry, of course, the Twins, but something we haven't seen yet is Prestinni with Formal or Prestinni with Scump or Prestinni with Envoy for that matter. So I'm curious how he's going to fit with those guys and how they're all going to affect each other. So I'm actually really, really curious to see that. I think Chicago is going to be a better team. I think they will be better as the season goes along. I don't see this roster changing anymore, to be honest. Even if they do continue to struggle, unless someone completely starts shitting the bed, I don't see Chicago making another move the rest of the year, unless it's to move gunless. But good move by Chicago, good move by Prestinni. Glad he's on the team, glad he's back.
So I just want to touch on one thing. So I agree with your point on that they're probably not going to make another change this year. And this is one thing that we actually kind of forgot to talk about when we were talking about champs, is the top 2 teams going into champs in seeding-wise and CDL points are going to be going into champs with a bye of the first and second round.
That's not confirmed.
It was confirmed. It was on the bracket when they were showing how it's all going to be working. It was tweeted by the Call of Duty League.
Okay, I thought that was fan made. I'm not really sure.
Well, I mean, all the pros were talking about that too, though, before that. So I'm okay, but it's pretty next to confirmed though. So they were saying those two, that the top 2 teams are getting a bypass first and second round, and the winners bracket, and then the third and fourth team get a bypassed round, get a bye to round 2, is how it was working. That way they can actually make the bracket work with 12 teams as opposed to instead of having 16 teams.
Okay.
Because it's double limb. But yeah, so that's just one thing I wanted to say. So these number 1 and 2 spots are actually so much more important than what they've ever really been at COD Champs going into it now. Because not only you don't have a pool now at Champs, but it's all seeded. It's going to be crazy this year. And I honestly I'm very excited to see whether or not they're going to end up having more than one stream, or if it's just going to be one stream and just a ton of Call of Duty on one channel. Now,
I can see it on one stream.
It's probably just going to be on one stream. But now going into what we were talking about with Prestinni, I thought this move was going to happen. I'm a big fan of the move. I love the Twins. Prestinni's one of my favorite players in the league. He is going to fix so many issues that this team has. One, they're not going to have 3 ARs anymore. They're going to have Prestinni, who's a entry guy. He's going to take so much of the load off Envoy and Scump because he is a guy who is willing to throw his life to help the team. And it's going to help them so much, with terms of pushing. He's going to be that guy who's in S&D that's going to be able to flank, make a play, not just an Envoy anymore. It should help them significantly, and I'm so happy to see them make a move because I love Chicago. I want them to do well. I actually think that they have a chance to win this weekend, even with a new roster. We're going to get more into that later, but I really feel like they have a good shot this weekend. And Florida, now let's move on to them. Maux benched for Quake. Now, they obviously, I feel like they needed a change. And Prestinni, I believe this was all done before Prestinni being moved for cash. So even it was apparently done before their last event. So they obviously didn't have a chance to shift them back in for anybody who was wondering. I don't really know how much I like the change for Maux. Obviously, he hasn't been performing too well. He's very inconsistent. But I would say so is most of Florida. I think the only consistent part since everybody joining has been Pharaoh since joining. So I just want to know what your guys' thoughts are on Quake being benched or Maux being benched for Quake. Zarin?
Go ahead, Zach.
Okay. Zach.
I mean, I see it as something like what Optic did last weekend, or sorry, 2 weekends ago, we should say. Again, obviously, Quaked isn't as big as known as Chino was, but it's still a new player coming in, hoping to change chemistry, hoping to change maybe roles on the team, or just morale. Because again, we don't see behind the scenes of what goes on with these players. And so, how my point of view is that with Quake coming in, just kind of go out in the weekend saying, what do we have to lose now? We're a new roster. Let's try to make an impact here and see where things go. See if this is the 5 we want to stick with. And also for Maux, for me, I honestly never really liked him. Like I never really liked his play style. It could have I saw some of his bad games, but I just didn't really think he made that big of impacts on the maps.
Honestly, I feel like we have to talk about it every time because it is the case with any roster move. Like, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. If we did, that would be fucking awesome because
we would be the #1 podcast on YouTube.
yeah, and we can really say shit that we know, but perhaps it was a morale thing. I personally, like, as an outsider, don't think it was. I think it was just Mox being kind of lackluster in every, not every series, I should say, but most of the time. It could have been a morale thing, but I do believe that it's a gameplay issue. Although to argue that, I don't know that Quake is a guy that's going to come in and just like tear shit up for Florida.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wasn't trying to say like he's a
No, I know,
yeah.
but I'm just saying like taking out Mox, a veteran and probably a leader on that team, and I'm bringing in this rookie, let's say, because I mean, let's be honest, he's been an amateur his whole career, and that's not an insult. That's just the truth.
It's just facts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that he's going to come in and just destroy everybody in his path. And I think Florida was honestly left scrambling after obviously the Prestinni move, and Mox being benched. They were left with 0 substitutes. And yeah, they have Maniac, but he's not a substitute.
He's a content creator through and through.
Yeah, he'll never see the light of day in the COD League. I can guarantee you that.
You know who's disappointed with this move? James. They wants to see Maniac in.
Yeah, he absolutely saying Maniac in, but they were left without any subs, and they tried out Quake, and I want to say, man, I forget the other player that they tried out. I want to say it was Archives, but I could be wrong. I'll double check that in just a second. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on that.
This is okay. So this is my only issue with the team. Okay, so they're going out and they're looking for a player to be a starter on their team. Why aren't they going out and getting one of the top AMs who has been winning these events? That's what I want to know. Or like any of these other like known AMs that these guys have honestly probably played with before. Like you have that AM team that won last week, right? With Fellow on it. You have Fellow Royalty, Gunjar, or not Gunjar on that team, but like Fellow Royalty, like quite a few good known AMs, and you guys are going and picking up Quake, and like Quake hasn't been like anything special this year, has he? Like I barely seen his name come up. So
look on the free agent list too. If you're Florida, why not take a stab?
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't understand. Like out of all the names that we threw up like last week on this or 2 weeks ago when we made an episode similar to this one, good with our predictions and stuff going into it. Like how do you not even think about taking any of those guys before you go with Quake? That's all I just don't fully understand the move. Like I understand benching Maux, he hasn't been performing, but like I feel like they could have gotten somebody better than Quake, who, like you said, has been an AM his whole career.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like you made a lackluster team even more lackluster, and they're just going to continue to fall down my power rankings. And
I think they're going to start falling down everybody's power rankings now. Like I think the reason that they're still up there, obviously, just because of the one tournament when they had, and now that was after Prestige like left, obviously, or not left, but stopped playing the pro scene.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the only reason that they're still the top, like still somewhat towards the top. But just the team in the last couple events have not proven to be a top tier, or a top like middle tier, but closer towards the top team. Right. And I think that like 100% agree with you. Like they should have looked at an AM that has more experience than Quakes does, or they should have looked at the free agent list that with some of the players that have experience playing against these pros or have the experience of being on the COD scene for so many years. And I think that would have been a smart move for Florida to make. And obviously, at the end of the day, they didn't make it.
It's weird too, because I know we're talking about this because like it's happened, but like it's weird because like they haven't even like really addressed it yet either. Like saying like fully like that Maux has been dropped and that like obviously we know that it's happened, but they haven't addressed it yet, which I find pretty weird too. So
Yeah.
I think everything's just in a spiral.
yeah, like maybe this isn't their full on decision. Maybe they're just trying to find something that works. So this could just be, but
The other player that they tried out was Hollow, who is currently on UIU.
right.
A guy who's been around for several years. But again, not like any of these top AMs that have been winning these events. You know, no Fellow, no Dave, no Nagafin.
Bro, I swear, didn't half these players on Florida? They were all like who? So who on Florida last year was on that? So Havoc, Maux, and so just Havoc and Maux, but they both played on Genji last year, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, Nagafin was on that team all last year and played very well.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big fan, but like Nagafin would probably be a good fit to this roster too. Like Nagafin could do anything. Like
Take a stab.
I just don't understand the move, man. Like it's frustrating because it's like they're just trying to make a case for why they should be the bottom team under the Gorillas, but they won't. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I don't understand the move.
The Gorillas are never going to be not the bottom.
I don't even understand why. Like they know that Gunless is getting dropped from Chicago. Why not even try to get Gunless? And that, like, do you think they tried? And they couldn't. Like I don't understand like a reason why they couldn't get Gunless in that.
I honestly think, again, every time we have to bring this up, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
That's true too. But like,
My thoughts are, I think the management for Florida asked the players if they want Gunless,
and they said no.
No, they probably said no.
Gunless probably also didn't want to go there either. So
I wouldn't have doubted if
Yeah, with the direction that
asked him and he said no as well.
yeah,
like,
that's very possible because
with the direction that Florida's going, if you're a top player like Gunless, like if you want that winning attitude, do you really want to go to a team that's trending downwards?
Well, he also has a hefty contract, which could be an issue for a team like Florida, which may not necessarily
That's
have
good
money.
point.
yeah. One thing I did like to see though was Hex saying that he is planning on moving Gunless because he is a top player in the world and he does deserve to be a starter in the league somewhere. So I did like seeing that.
They still have General as a sub, so they can move Gunless.
Yeah, and General was definitely a class act too. He went in, he played in scrims, played as much as he could, even though he knew he was not getting that starting spot in the roster because I'm sure they told him.
And he never bitched once.
So I got to commend it to him for that. Like that's a hard spot to be in.
That just shows professionalism.
Yeah.
Like, he's professional when it comes
At
to
the end of the day, he's not there just to get a paycheck. He's actually there doing his job as a sub, and I really respect that.
He knows his role as a sub, which someone does not understand.
Oh no, we're bringing that up already.
I mean, we can transition to that now. So
Okay, so yeah, Doug Sensor Martin, you guys can explain a little bit more, but from what I've seen on Twitter, for some reason lost his mind as he does.
well,
every now and then.
I wouldn't say lose his mind, but
he's been in a rough spot recently, is what we could say.
Yes.
He's and I do kind of understand it to a point, but also like, so basically the issue is Doug Sensor Martin wants to be a starter in the league and he wants to be getting the same practice as everybody else is getting, is where he's coming from. He kind of just didn't say it in that way fully. It's like, I understand, but you're also not a starter and you're not going to get the same practice as your stars. He's like complaining that he doesn't get put into 10 series and he doesn't get scrim time with his team. It's like, of course you're not going to get scrim time with your team. I'm like, I also understand like why he might be mad because they didn't even give him a shot before they went and picked up Mac, but Mac's nasty, so it's like kind of understand, right?
Well,
so it's like, and of course you're not really getting picked in 10s. You have a terrible, like, your name is so like hurt in the scene at this point that it's like, yeah, you're a former world champion, but you also won championships 5 years ago when the scene has completely evolved since then. These kids that are coming in now are cracked. Like,
I hate talking about Doug, but then again, I love talking about him because he's a news creator. He is a topic.
Content.
I love Doug. I love Doug Sensor Martin. He's a great dude. I just like it's your role, dude. Like it's unfortunate, but it is. He signed up to take the paycheck. He could have went and played in the AM circuit all year. I mean, I don't even know what's going on now because he said before he couldn't play in the AM circuit, and now he's saying he is playing in it. So like, is he not a sub anymore on New York, or like, what's going on? Like, how's that work?
Subs are allowed, as far as I know, to play in challengers events because Gunjar has been playing the entire time.
So like, do they have to be loaned, or like, how did like? Because like I see some people get loaned, right? Like,
honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it might just be challengers, like strictly challengers events. Substitutes are not allowed to play, but events like Northern Rivals and the home series challengers type things, I think the players are allowed to play in those, but I'm not entirely sure. But definitely like side events, specifically Northern Rivals, substitutes are allowed to play in that.
So it's like, I don't know. I hope he does well though. Like I know everybody kind of shits on Doug. I love Doug. I hope he does well. It's just it's he has to prove himself if he wants a starting spot in the league. You can't just come in and say, "Yo, I deserve a starting spot in the league," when you just like you haven't proved that you do over the last couple years. That's the issue.
So with the video that he posted a couple days ago, it was like kind of a positive to him, but also it was like a backhanded thing, saying that he was showing gameplay from months ago when the game first dropped in December. I think he said in the video, it was just clips of him playing a team and explaining how he was scrimming with the subliners players and how they slap phase in one match, and he kept talking about that. But then he started going on about how ever since then he just hasn't got picked for anything, that he's just dropped, that his reputation's dropped. And if he wants his reputation to go up, he needs to do something about it. He can't just keep complaining about it. He can't just keep posting videos about it. Like, I understand you get frustrated, and you get frustrated because you're on a team and you got overlooked because from a player, like an AM player that's made an impact, and you're a veteran. Where, like you said, Jesse, 4 or 5 years ago he was winning championships, but the scene now has evolved. So I think, in a way, he just kind of needs to prove to organizations and as well to his organization that he actually does want this and he wants to fight for it bad, and he isn't just in it for a paycheck.
Imagine, can we just imagine if he never got suspended because you guys know why he stopped playing the first time, right? Was he got a big suspension from a penalty because of him, like they were cheating, weren't they? There was some issue with like switching. They weren't really cheating, but it classified against the rules as cheating because they were playing on. Go ahead.
You got caught for account recovering.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you that don't know, it's when someone else is playing on the proper person's account. So let's say, for example, it was Royalty that was on Doug's team, and he couldn't play.
So they got
a random guy to play on Royalty's account to play in that series, and they got caught for it, which is not allowed and very, very stupid.
And you know what the craziest part about that is too? It was for pro points too. It wasn't even like a serious tournament or anything. It was just for pro points.
Yeah.
Which is and that's like a whole other issue that thank God that we're in a full on like franchise league now, and they don't have to worry about pro points anymore and like going on and grinding GBs every day, because that was just the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
I understand why challengers have to do it, but like the pro teams should have never had to do that shit. Moving on from Censor, Zero, released from New York, confirmed to be joining with the London Royal Ravens. I like this move a lot. Jerd gets benched. I'm just going to go over my thoughts on it first. I want to know what you guys think after. I think it's a good move. I think Zero will be obviously he's being put into the starting roster. He deserves a shot. He's a good player. Jerd hasn't been Jerd this year that we normally know. So, will it be the right move? We don't know. We'll see. I think Zero can be a very impactful player. I'm not sure what roles they're going to be running with. They haven't really specified, nor have I really seen scrims from them, because not a lot of the CDL teams scrim. I think it's an okay move, though. I don't think it's a bad move by any means. They haven't been performing, so.
Yep. I honestly, Jerd, household name, been probably London's greatest player of all time. or even Europe's greatest player of all time. Could argue him with Swanee.
Swanee.
Rated.
Yeah, well,
They're all definitely up there.
him getting taken down the lineup is kind of big news, but he has slowed down a little bit this year. I don't think he's going to take it to heart though. I know he'll be ready whenever his name gets called on again, and I do believe that he will eventually find himself back in the starting lineup or even perhaps somewhere else. Don't really see him going anywhere else, but for now, I don't think he's going to take it to heart. Of course, a man of few words. Tweets like once every 5 months. But so I mean that maybe that's the maybe that's the issue. Him not communicating too well. Again, we don't know. But Zero coming in, it's a great fit. And honestly, my guess, if they don't show up this event or the next one, I can see Rated coming back in for Shawnee or anyone else for that matter. But I do believe it would be Shawnee. Rated and Zero have been playing together for 4 years or whatever it is. So I could definitely see that happening.
So
London, I think they'll be better because of it.
So sorry, Zach, go ahead and just let me. What are your thoughts on it?
You if you want to continue. Go.
Well, I wasn't really gonna put more thoughts on it. Basically, all I was really gonna say was, I just want to know what your guys' thoughts are on like what you think roles are gonna be. Like, do you think we're gonna see Zero back on the main AR where we've seen him be the most successful we've seen him be in his career, or do you think he's gonna be running a sub? That's
so okay.
because the last 2 years he's been a sub, but before that he was the most successful on an AR. So go ahead.
Yeah, so just my whole view on it is the subliners I believe they found their 5. They don't want to switch that 5. They don't want to do that. So smart move from them. Zero being dropped. And I think for London, it's a very smart move picking him up because, again, Jerd is a player that hasn't really been performing up to Jerd standards, as we've seen. And why not bring in a player like Zero who, like you said, can be an impactful name and can impact a lineup like that? Now, for roles, I can see Zero being that kind of flex player where if it's a map where multiple ARs are the better suit, I think he'd be one of the players to run an AR. But at the same time, I can see him being fine with just running a sub. So, and that's what my mindset is. And then with London making this move, I see it as why not, right? They struggled these last couple events. They didn't finish as high as they wanted to. So why not give this new look a try? If it works, that's great. Then they're moving back up in the CDL power rankings. But if it doesn't work, then you can still make some roster moves.
Right. Zara, what are your thoughts on the rules?
Honestly, I have no idea. We saw what team is that? I'm drawing a complete blank. I believe no, it was Optic actually who did complete role changes. So London could go in that direction. They could kind of keep what they have right now and just kind of fit Zero in where they see, whatever slot's open now. Jerd obviously primarily a sub, so I could definitely see Zero going right to a sub, but could definitely see the possibility of him working the flex when needed.
So who's running their main? Who was running their main AR before? It was Wuskins.
Wuskins or Scraps?
It wasn't Scraps. Scraps is a flex player.
The sub? Oh, flex. Okay.
Yeah.
Was
So this is my only issue with the role or with the thing is I want to I guess Zero likes running a sub now because he has been doing it like the last 2 years. But man, I want to see him back on an AR, man. Like this guy was like when he was an AR. Think about IW. This guy was an AR. He was easily top 3 AR in that game, easily. Yeah. Like he is such a good main AR, and like I could have even seen him being good on New York as a main AR in place of like accuracy, but also. The thing with accuracy is like when accuracy gets his team, he gets to kind of buy into his system. And that's when accuracy's teams do really well. But it's like, man, I just want to see Zero on an AR. I don't want to see him on a sub anymore. And like, I think Wuskins could be really good as a sub this year too. Like,
although he's probably
been their most consistent player. But
Wuskins is quality this year on the AR. So
yes, I agree. But he's being an MVP quality on a team that's not doing well. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of like maybe you put Zero on the AR, maybe you put him on that, and things get better. You never know.
I don't know, man. It's a tough call because I don't know how you take someone away from a position they've gotten so comfortable at and so good at. It's hard. And just a little bit of news for people who haven't heard. Mad Cat was actually originally supposed to be added to the starting lineup for London, but I don't know what happened. Something fell through, and Zero was eventually transferred to London. But Mad Cat would have been comfortably slotted in as the second submachine gun for sure.
That's
He's submachine gun as long as I can remember. That could have possibly been a better move for London, but I'm still happy with the move that they decided to go with, adding Zero.
I also think Dave would have been a really good fit as another sub too.
Really would have, and perhaps he's a solution that Paris could use.
No, maybe honestly, maybe this is the last move that London makes, because like Shawnee's been okay. He hasn't been great. Maybe they've like, I feel like you can't really drop Scraps and Weskins. They've been their best two players all year.
100%.
Right? Like, and like Scraps, when you get top notch Scraps is like top 3 player in the world. So it's like,
And like I said, I do think Rated is going to slot back in at one point or another. I think it's going to be quite soon too if they can.
I think if they don't get the results that they are hoping for this weekend, then you can see Rated getting slated back in a lot sooner than later.
I mean, I can absolutely see Rated going to the management and being like, "Why aren't I in the damn starting roster? You guys still aren't winning." I can 100% see that happening too.
Yeah,
because like he's a good player. He's always
Rated is that type of guy to speak his mind when he wants to. So that could definitely be an issue.
All right, and I know we kind of sort of touched on Sensor a little bit before. I kind of want to go in, Zarin. I'm kind of going to toss this over to you if you want to go over some of the AM stuff that we were talking about.
Not too much news as far as I'm concerned. As far as roster changes, I think there was more than expected, but just some notable ones. Parasite finding himself a new home. We won't talk about it too much, but he's going to join UIU alongside Hollow, who has tried out for Florida, Cells, Draza, and Rex. Decent team, not as good as Parasite's team, the one that he was on before, but this team could definitely make some noise in the Challengers. I just don't understand how Parasite got another job. Now, Parasite is going in for Infamous. I don't know where Infamous ended up going, but Parasite coming in, bringing a new dynamic. He is good at the game, but we'll see how long these guys can put up with his shit. It'll be very interesting. So yeah, Parasite to UIU, Hollow, Cells, Draza, and Rex. Pretty good squad. And once again, shout out to Team Triumph, fellow Nagafin royalty Standy and Dave Patty, of course, Mochilla as the coach. They've won another CDL Challengers event. That's their second straight, so good job by them. And Team War, that European squad, winning their second straight as well. So shout out to those guys. Well done. They will not be making any changes
for War. I think that's 3 out of the last 4. I think the only team they dropped one to was Singularity, and they made the finals in that one too. They're a good team.
Yeah, those 2 teams definitely won't be making any move, or 3 teams, I should say, including Singularity.
Oh shoot! Well,
so not much in Challengers, but that's about it. Yeah.
Well, we're talking AMs. I'm just interested to know your thoughts on no AM teams at COD Champs this year, because this was like a big discussion, like on Twitter this week when they all got announced, because there's no AMs. I just want to know what your thoughts are, because there's not going to be those Cinderella runs anymore.
Yeah, huge mistake. I think. I think the best part was about COD Champs every year was seeing those open bracket teams make it into pool play.
Yeah.
Noise and cause some problems for top teams, and we've seen even the best struggle against those teams. And of course, we saw Singularity last year make that ridiculous run up to
8th place, top 8, wasn't it?
Yeah, 7th through 8th, whatever it was. So like, we're not going to see that anymore, and it sucks. And definitely want to bring it up in another episode of the podcast, but I Hold Shift actually brought it up today on Twitter, and I've been thinking this as well. The league really should be operated like Overwatch, where top 3 teams from the Challengers League gets bumped up into league, against the bottom 3 of the CDL getting dropped down. Like, it's hard to get. If
they put top 4 AM teams in, you have a 16 team bracket as opposed to whatever the fuck we're about to get.
Well, that's another thing too. You take the top 4 seeded teams. So who do we have right now? We have Singularity, we have Timor, and we have Triumph, and whatever.
Take the top Australian team, whatever it is, just like
the top APAC team, put them in. I do not understand why they cannot make this a 16 bracket or 16 team bracket, and it'll just make it that much more fun. And I can promise you that Timor and Team Singularity are better than at least 4 teams in the CDL right now.
I wonder who they are. I wonder who those teams are.
Now, I will say one thing, though, to kind of... I understand it only because of it being a franchised league. That's the only reason it makes sense, because these teams paid so much money to be in the league that they... Like, imagine paying $25 million to be in the league and losing to an AM team at Champs. I think that's the only reason that they didn't do it. Like, no, I know, but can you just imagine like how bad that looks on the org, and that, like,
again,
right? Like, so like that's the only reason I understand it.
I understand it, but I don't like it.
I think also we have to take into view this is the first year of the CDL, like, so
things could change.
Things could change in the future. Like, this is how they want to test it out, and that's why so far I've been kind of okay with everything that's happened, because I'm at the same time you have to see. We as fans may not like some of the decisions they made, like, for example, the tournaments, not having every single team in there. But again, it's also this is the first time they're trying things out, so you can't necessarily be too upset with what's happening. But again, obviously, as a fan, you want to be upset.
I mean, with the tournaments, it's still better than what they had planned before, which is just league matches every weekend.
100%.
That would have been terrible. Yeah. I'm so much happier with like how we have tournaments at least every other weekend. I love that. But like if it was just league matches, man, that would be so boring. At least now we get a tournament every weekend.
I think what they should do at the end of this year is just kind of all the main people that are running this league, that are in control of this league, sit down and have the discussion of what we feel was smart about what we did, and then what we feel we should change.
And I'm sure that will happen.
And I'm positive it's going to happen.
I'm sure they're having meetings about that already.
Yeah, I think next year's CDL league is going to be 10 times better than this year's was.
I'm also... Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's just... this is just kind of that transition phase to more of them wanting to make a bigger impact on like the professional gaming scene.
For sure.
I'm also expecting 4 expansion teams for next year. Like, there's been zero hint of that happening, but I fully expect expansion teams will be a factor. If not next year, then the year after.
It'll probably be the year after. But
I think you're, so honestly, I wouldn't doubt it.
Some organizations would kind of want to feel out the whole LAN scene first, see how that would work before, investing $25 million. But I do believe the next expansion, which will be soon, will be at least 4 teams. So that could help things out, especially at Champs, making it 16 is obviously.
The only issue with the with the expansion teams is I'm sure it's going to be hard to invest that much money into a league and pick up AM players to play on your team, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that I would say, because like, can you imagine coming in, like, without having like a draft system, right? Like, there's no draft system in the CDL.
Again, you never know. They can make it. They can make one.
But right now there's no draft system, right? So it's like,
yeah, no. I understand.
I would expect when they come in, there would be an expansion draft. So let's say you can protect 4 players on your starting roster.
I think they should go back to 4v4 anyways, but
I think they should too. It won't happen. But
I fucking wish, man. 4v4 was so much better than 5v5.
I don't know why they didn't do a draft, to be honest. Like, how fun would that have been?
It would have been crazy. Who do you think? If there was a draft, who do you think the first pick in the draft would have been?
Simp, easily. Not even close.
That's probably a good pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think, honestly,
I'm between 3, in all honesty.
My number one pick, if I'm picking anybody in the league, and you guys are going to be like, oh, you little bitch for picking it, I would 100% pick Scump. He has the biggest following in the league. That's instant fans. That is instant fans for your team. And he's a fucking top player every year. Like, 100% that would be my pick in the league. I know Simp is amazing, but he has the biggest following in the league.
He's on the back half of his career. Simp is 19 years old. He's gonna play for 6-7.
I would
years.
still pick Scump over Simp. Just
That's ridiculous.
fans, bro. Fans are what make the league run, bro. I fucking, bro. You can go. Fix your mic. One. Go two. Go fix. It's two. Fucking. That would be. I don't know, man. Like, just think about that. Would you rather have so many fans on your team or just have a good play, bro? I don't know, man. I would rather have fans.
$2 fucking million of champs than just
I really like both of your picks,
Could you really think
those
Scump can't take Simp in a fucking gunfight, bro? He 100% he can. Are you like?
Simp is gonna beat him every fucking time.
I don't know, bro. I can't wait to see the Atlanta versus Chicago matchup, bro. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and fucking okay.
I'm not saying Simp is a bad player, bro, by any means.
But I'm just saying, if you're starting a franchise,
I'm picking Scump.
you're a fucking idiot, okay? Scump is what, 23, 24 now? He's on the back half of his career.
He still easily has 5 years left in him.
Minimum, bro.
Scump easily has 5 years left in him. Easily.
That's ridiculous. 5 years for Scump.
You don't think Scump... Bro, fucking Clayster's 29 and still a top player in the league.
He's not a top player in the league.
He won back-to-back events to win champs last year. Yeah, he had a good team. He's the leader of that team.
Like to say,
and he's won 2 champs this year already. How is he not a top player in the league? Oh, shut your mouth.
How old
Clayster was gonna. It was in the 3. Like you, both the players you guys named off are in the 3, and Clayster was the 3rd, saying of the number 1 pick.
I definitely would have picked Clayster as the number 1 pick, but
that's just.
I wouldn't even put Crim6 as the number. Like, I wouldn't even consider him.
Yeah, the most winningest Call of Duty player in history, and you're not going to pick him, and you wouldn't consider him a top 3. I 100% would consider him.
Well,
I consider him top
3. Okay, I would take Crim over Scump any day of the week. Simp 1, Dylan number 2, and probably
Dylan.
Crim number 3.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan looks like ass cheeks this year.
We're talking about the future, buddy. He might be.
No, absolutely. Okay, you're fucking. We're done. We're done with this conversation. No, I'm not even continuing this.
Even next year, fucking.
Dylan is not even that good this year. What do you mean?
It doesn't matter. He's having an off year. So what? He's on a fucking garbage team.
Okay, so wait, you would take Dylan over Scump?
Yeah.
Scump has been okay, bro. Scump has been a top player in the league every year. Every year.
If I'm picking.
Every year
in the first round of the draft for the future of my team. Who am I going to build my
I'm picking
franchise around?
consistency and the biggest fan base.
Simp, Dylan, and Crim6 over Scump.
Consistency and fan base.
We got way off topic, but
I know, but like consistency and the biggest fan base, bro.
Who the fuck cares?
You were so stupid, bro. You were so stupid.
He doesn't.
Crim6 is only Crim6 has won what? 2 champs? Who cares, right?
And you're gonna bring it up, the winningest player in Call of Duty? Yeah, that's right. I'm taking him 3rd overall.
Yeah, bro. I'm just saying, Dylan over Scump. You're fucking so stupid. That was a terrible argument, bro. Zach. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. 1 second. Wait. Let's just get Zach. Dylan or Scump?
I would. Okay, from what I've seen and seen Scump how he still plays, I would take Scump over Dylan in a heartbeat. Because you're saying listen, you're saying he's getting in his back half of his career, but yet he's still putting up insane numbers as if he was still in his early stages of his career. But if you're looking in the future, saying 4 or 5 years down the road, and you're saying Scumpy now at this year is in his back age of his career. You're crazy because you would think he's still in his prime. He's still putting up ridiculous numbers event after event.
He's definitely not in his prime, but like he's definitely still a top 5 player in the fucking league.
In the league?
Yeah, bro. He's a top 5 player in the league.
Dude. All I'm saying is for the future.
He also runs an extremely hard roll this year. The submachine gun roll this year is terrible to run.
Building my franchise with Dylan because in 5 years from now, Dylan's gonna be my guy.
Dylan might not even be in the league in 5 years. Scump, you still know he will be.
You're an idiot. Scump is gonna be almost 30 in 5 years.
Bro,
fucking take him.
I would at 30 still take Scump over Dylan.
Your best $25 million.
I would take Scump over Dylan at 30. That's and I'm being 100% with that.
You're a fucking moron.
Anyways, let's move on. On to predictions now. Zarin, if you want to go first. I know you're fucking a little bit cheesed over there. But
Zach, go.
all right.
You want me to go first?
I'm gonna pop up your bracket, Zach. Go ahead. Talk about what you think.
I love when the parents fight. So my bracket, I have London 3-0ing the Gorillas. I have New York 3-1ing. This is all first round. I have New York 3-1ing Seattle. Then Optic beating Minnesota and Huntsman beating Legion. And then the loser side of that, I have Surge beating Gorillas 3-0 and Rocker beating Paris 3-0. Quarterfinals, we got Royal Ravens getting 3-0'd by the Subliners. Huntsman 3-2ing Optic, and then Optic 3-1ing Rocker. And then I have... Wait, did I say London 3-2ing Seattle? Okay. Then
just kind of go with who you got coming out of the bracket. Just like
so out of the bracket, so I got Subliners, Optic, Chicago, and the Royal Ravens. My finals is the Huntsman versus the Subliners, and I can see Huntsman taking it into 3-2. Now, you guys seen over the last couple weeks, I've been a really big fan of this Subliners team. They jumped immediately up to my top 4 just from their performances, and I think I did put Huntsman winning the event, but I can honestly see the Subliners maybe stealing it from the Huntsman. That's kind of my view. If in a real world, and if the Huntsmen play to their potential and play to their power with Prestinni, 100% they're taking it. But any flaw, I see Subliners taking it. And yes, I know Zarin's not liking this, seeing that Minnesota loses to Optic twice. But again, I don't know what it is. That Optic team, man, I'm telling you, they're on the rise.
Oh my god, they've had one good event.
But
they did look a lot better, but they are not beating Minnesota. They may beat them once. Not gonna deny that, but they will not be even close to beating them twice. That is not happening.
I agree. It will be hard. It will be hard to beat them twice. I agree with that. Because Minnesota is a very smart team. They'll probably veto a lot of maps against them. I could definitely see that being an issue for Optic. But
we saw a lot of crazy things last week.
But yeah, Zarin, if you want to go over your bracket really quick. So I just pulled it up on the screen.
Yeah. So I got. Oh, that's mine. Oh yeah. Okay. I have New York, Chicago, Minnesota, and Seattle coming out of groups. London, obviously, going to kick things off with a hot 3-0 in LA. I think no one will be surprised by that. London, I just don't see them beating New York right now, and I think Seattle is going to find something with Enable coming back in. I don't know how they've done in scrims, but I know they've been practicing a shit ton. Seattle going to kick things off with a victory against the Gorillas, but the Gorillas will take an S&D off them because Seattle fucking blows at S&D. No thanks to Pander. Seattle continuing on their little run. London Royal Ravens still somewhat of a new team. Going to drop that series 3-1. So Seattle's going to take on Minnesota. And in the bottom half, I got Chicago kind of rolling through Paris because Paris is some poo-poo right now, as I've been saying all season long. They're going to drop to the losers and also lose to OGLA, who just lost to Minnesota. So I got Minnesota taking out Chicago, the new Chicago team. I think Minnesota's going to come out pretty smoking hot for the most part. I actually have them with 3 Game 5s on their way to the finals, but still,
I mean,
very strong. And
knowing them, I wouldn't be surprised 3 Game 5s if they were to make it to a final. Honestly,
it's usually how they play. Like they just, even against some of the weaker teams, which they're not going to face many weak teams in their side of the bracket, but they're going to roll their way through to the finals, taking on Seattle and beating them in 5. Seattle winning 2 respawns and no S&Ds in that one, of course. And Chicago beating New York as expected, and I think the new team's just not going to be able to handle Minnesota. And finally, the Rocker winning their first event of the year. Finally, taking out Chicago and upsetting every stupid Optic fan and making me happy.
I actually have almost a very similar bracket to you. I just have like one or two teams different, but like for the most part, I'm almost the exact same way as you in Group A. I'll throw my bracket up really quick. So I'm almost the exact same way as you in Group A. I see New York coming out in the 1 spot, and I see Surge coming out in the 2 spot. For 2 main reasons, I see Seattle again just destroying the Gorillas in the first losers match, and then I don't think London's going to be ready as a team to take on Seattle. That's my only issue with that. Otherwise, might end up going with London, but I don't think like they're ready to take on Seattle. They got Enable in the lineup. They might look a lot better this weekend. We don't know. Hopefully they do, because that would be great to see something good coming out of them. And then coming out of the other side of the bracket, I have Huntsman beating Paris in round 1. Optic, actually, I have taking Rocker in round 1. And then Rocker beating Legion to set up Rocker versus Optic. I think Optic will take that again. This time with Minnesota taking one more map off them, because I had it as a 3-1 first time, 3-2 the second time. Now, I know what you're saying. I do agree with you. There is a very good chance that they can't take 2 off them. This is just what I feel. I don't fully want to get hate on you from that, because I don't think Minnesota, I think that they are a case of they learned the game very, very early, and they've been very consistent until last tournament, because I feel teams have caught up to them. That's where I come from, and I feel like once teams catch up to you, they don't fully have everything to compete with these teams that have the heavy, heavy star power. You know what I mean? So that's my argument to you with that. I feel like if this Optic team is clicking like how they were clicking last week, they 100% can beat Minnesota in 2 best-of-5s. Now, Huntsman, I have taken out Optic and sending them down. So I have Huntsman going into the finals, or into the semifinals versus Seattle. I have Huntsman taking that 3-0 over Seattle. Even with Seattle, or that's kind of a hard one to say too, is a 3-0. But like, I didn't really have many 3-0s on here, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just throw up a 3-0, because I feel like if they come out hot, they absolutely could 3-0 Seattle. And on the other side, I have New York beating Optic 3-2. I feel like New York is going to have probably their best weekend so far. They can absolutely run their side of groups. And then in the end, I do have Huntsman taking this 3-1. Now, I will say this, I do have them taking the tournament. There's a very good chance that they won't take this tournament because they are a new roster. So this is just what I think is going to happen. Will it happen? There's a good chance it won't. This is just my predictions, because it's a prediction show, and that's what I feel.
I can't argue too much with you. I like it. Again, I'm weary of the OGLA beating Minnesota twice. I just do not see it happening.
I made some pretty good points, though, no?
Yeah, but I mean,
this league is just so random.
Other than OGLA, I don't mind your picks at all.
Yeah. Honestly, like, this league is so random. I feel like anything can happen on any weekend except for Seattle. I mean, look at Toronto last weekend, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's just it's weird.
That was kind of my only reason of seeing Rocker lose 2 maps to Optic, is just look what happened last weekend. You didn't expect any of those, we'll say shitty teams to do what they were doing. Like, let's be real. Like, we did not, like, I think before Jesse said that Toronto wasn't going to win a map, I said they wouldn't get out of groups.
You also said you'd shave your head, but that never happened.
We're not going to bring that back up.
I shaved for him.
Yeah, Zarin took one for the team. I appreciate you. Thank you. But no, and Jesse, I think
disappointed in both of you. You not shaving your head and Zarin shaving his beard. Only quarantine beard left standing, baby.
But I honestly think it's just like Jason said, teams have caught up to Rocker, and I think last week was a big wake up call to that with Toronto 3-1ing them. I think that's it.
All right, Zarin, I can see you dying over there. Zarin, let me get your one disappointment of the event.
No, I wasn't like that. That was me sleeping on Zach's comments because they weren't right. No one has caught up to Minnesota yet. They've had one bad event. Similar, like on the other side, OGLA has had one good event, And yeah, you could say, oh,
I think teams have absolutely caught up to Minnesota.
No way. I don't believe it. I think they're going to come out with the fire. They're going to come out with a victory this weekend. Guarantee of the event. Seattle will get out of groups for the first time in God knows how long.
That'll be their second time in 2 events. They got out last event. But yes, I don't mind that pick. Yeah, did they not get out their last event? They didn't play last weekend. They got out the weekend before. Because they beat LA twice, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
but yes,
all the points against the Gorillas.
They're like they're two. They will have 2.
Will they get their first points against somebody other than the Gorillas this weekend, Zarin?
Yeah, that's what I meant. They will get out of groups without playing the Gorillas twice because they will have to play them once. Let's say that. That's guarantee. But
that's your guarantee, Zach. Give me your guarantee for this event.
I see Mac running. Mac absolutely having himself a weekend. We saw him impact the squad, but I see him having himself an absolute tear of a weekend throughout every series.
I want to do something a little bit different with my guarantee this weekend, but like it's pretty hard. I want to, like, part of me just wants to say I guarantee you Prestinni's going to come out and fry, but I think we all know that that's going to happen. So it's like it's a hard one to do. I don't even know. I think a good guarantee for this weekend would be like, you know what? This is my guarantee for the weekend. Scump's gonna have somebody flying in front of him. I guarantee you, Scump drops a 1.2 this weekend on total on the whole weekend. That's my guarantee. That's good for a fucking sub this year.
You should put money on that.
That's good for a sub. That's just a guarantee. That's my guarantee. He's gonna have somebody flying in front of him now. I think that's a good pick, dude. I don't know what you're shrugging your head to.
Call him a top 5 player with a 1.2. I don't.
What do you mean? 1.2. Well, that's good for a sub this year. Even Simp's not dropping a 1.2, and he's the best sub in the game.
Carry on, retard.
Anyways, let's move on. And what's your disappointment for the weekend?
My twist.
My disappointment. I gotta think about this a little bit. I'm gonna say, I know my bracket said LA is gonna take a map off Seattle, but actually, you know what? I don't even know that that's a disappointment. I'm gonna say, with a favorable bracket, Chicago doesn't win the event, and I would consider that a disappointment if they didn't win.
Yeah,
because I feel like they're fully expected to win.
That with the teams that are here, yes, 100%. Zach,
my
disappointment. You stole my disappointment.
Honestly, my disappointment would be that I know I put the Royal Ravens 3-0ing Gorillas because obviously Gorillas aren't that good. But I can see, like, my disappointment would be if the Royal Ravens actually allow the Gorillas to take it to a Game 5, round 11. That would be my type of disappointment.
Okay, we're confusing disappointment with upset again.
No, not win. I'm not saying they're gonna win, but I say that the map going that far.
No. I'm just. It's still like, okay. We have this problem every fucking event. I find, like, upset is a team like surprising someone. And
I mean, I thought we switched it to upset / disappointment though. No, like it's
no, because like it's different. I hate fucking explaining this every time, but like disappointment, like who's gonna let you down? Who is supposed to be good but isn't good, or doesn't play good? Like something like that. You know what I mean? Like
I got you. I don't. Here, can I go over mine then? I think.
Go over yours. You go over yours.
All right. So my disappointment was going to be because Chicago is expected to win this event. That they're, if they don't win it, that will be a disappointment on the weekend.
That's a disappointment. Yes.
But I will say, since you took that one, I have another one. I will say my disappointment of the weekend is going to be Minnesota not making it out of groups again. Is my disappointment of the weekend.
Damn.
If I was to change mine because you didn't like mine, I was about to say that was gonna be mine. That Minnesota is making a group.
See, that's a disappointment.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. As long as they're clear.
You know what? My disappointment would be if New York doesn't make it out of groups.
I would say a good disappointment for you would. I'd also say even another good disappointment for New York would be not making the finals this weekend. That would be a pretty big
Yeah.
disappointment too, because they have a pretty if they get the right bracket, they could absolutely make the finals. Unless Chicago, I think the only way New York doesn't make the finals is if Chicago comes out of Group B as the second seed and faces New York in semis, and then it's the only way New York doesn't make the finals.
I agree with you.
So I mean, that's pretty much it for the podcast today. We're just running just about an hour right now. Any final thoughts before we head into the weekend?
Zach?
No, honestly, we've covered it all this episode. But again, if Prestinni makes an impact, this is Chicago's weekend to lose. If Prestinni, if he can if he impacts the squad, if the chemistry's there, and if it just lights a spark under all of their asses, I think they win it without an issue.
I'm excited to see what Chicago's got. I'm excited to see what OGLA's got. I'm excited to see what Minnesota's got. They're gonna have a tough time playing against each other, but OGLA's got to impress me. Chicago, I'm expecting to get to the finals. I know I picked Minnesota, but they could very easily win it. I'm interested to see what Seattle can do with their easiest pool of the entire year. I mean, yes, they had LA twice, but other than that, this is probably their. Okay, let's not say easiest, but
it's definitely the
very
one.
doable.
This is one pool that if you look at it and you're like, yo, if Seattle doesn't make it out of this pool, they're fucking shit.
Yeah, it's very, very winnable. So I'm excited to see what they can do. Looking forward to more exciting COD. I've been waiting for it, and let's go Rocker. Let's go.
And yeah, I'm gonna just round this out. I'm gonna say I'm super excited for this weekend. I cannot wait to watch Prestinni and Arcides playing together again. They are such a good duo. I'm excited to see Chicago. Hopefully they come out, they fry. That's what I'm really hoping for. Because if they come out and they fry again, who fucking knows who the top team in the world is? Because I know Empire got that top 3 sub because right now it's a sub trio, right? You got FaZe, you got Simpabeezy, and Priesta, nasty, right? You got Dallas, who is it? Hook, Illy, and Shotzi, nasty. But I mean, Scump, Envoy, and Prestinni, that's not a trio to sleep on. I think absolutely I think we're gonna see it.
You throw Envoy in there too.
I literally said Envoy.
Oh, I thought you said. I honestly heard. I thought you said Arcides. That's my apology.
But
then we got Scraps, Dylan, and fucking.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Anyways, that's a good place to leave it off. Thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. Make sure you guys follow all our socials. They will be down in the description below. And if you guys got this far in the podcast, I fucking love you. Remember, we're the Real Round 11 podcast, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day.